We are looking at Bennett's Butterfly Above the Water, commentary by Coach Chris. First thing I like to do is run it in full speed so we can kind of see how his stroke is flowing. He's got a good rhythm, and I'm not seeing any real pauses. He's keeping that kick active, which is really good. Now, we usually see a little bit better job of this in a race and in a video like this. In practice, Bennett's like, most of the kids, he'll sometimes when he gets tired or when he's trying to stretch out the fly, he'll either drop that second kick or add a glide to the front of the stroke just to try to stretch it out. And so that's a habit that creeps into races too when they get tired. But when we're looking at this, we got to kind of keep that in mind. And we also got to keep in mind that this is going to show us pretty much his fresh or early part of his races, what his stroke's going to be looking like. And right now, I like a lot of what I see. We're going to slow this down and take a look at Bennett's stroke. So right now, I'm looking at his recovery, and I really like how he's recovering over the water. He's sweeping in the proper position. His arms are mostly straight, slightly relaxed. They're not really tense. And that's something that's really difficult for the kids of this age to do. The thing we work on all the time is that timing of the head, timing of the breathing, and you can see right there he's got a real nice high body position. He's lifting the head early in his stroke when he takes a breath. That one was a little late, I think, because we're going towards the wall. But if you watch him breathing on these, he does a really, really, really good job of getting that head up early and head down. Now, when he gets tired, or when he's slowing down his stroke because he's trying to take fewer strokes because he's getting tired, that head's going to start coming up later and going down later. And so that rhythm's going to break down. But right now, while he's relatively fresh and early on in his races, he's got a real good grasp of when he see how early that head comes up. That's great. Nice solid sweep. Getting a little bit too close together with those hands and kind of pulling the head up a little bit. If you can see that's great timing. Head's coming down before the hands. But if you go back and see, there was a stroke right over here where we can really take a look at this hand entry. We've been talking a lot about how to enter the hands in various races. Now he's doing a good job. He's right down his shoulder line most of the time. And we want those hands to be slightly outside. Let's see if we can catch this next one. And I'm going to frame forward. So you can see here he's kind of inside his shoulders. And one thing we're working on the kids a lot with is swimming in what we call I'm going to draw it here, skinny Y position. So he wants his hands entering just slightly outside those shoulders. And right now he's kind of in what I would call a skinny A position. So his hands are here. So he's kind of over sweeping on the recovery. And there's lots of reasons why we don't want to do that. And there's lots of reasons why they do that at this age. A lot of kids do this because they think of streamline. And they think of streamline underwater. They've been told constantly is a tight streamline. It looks like a real skinny A. You get the hands together. There's different kinds of streamline. That's the streamline you want when you're underwater doing like a glide or a dolphin kick. When you're on the surface, the streamline you want has a few other things you got to keep in mind. One, we want to be in a position where our shoulders can move. And so when he's coming in this narrow, he's actually hyperextending those shoulders. And actually, because his pinkies are slightly turned up, he's going to be over-rotating them too. So that's going to twist up those shoulder muscles and hyperextend them. So basically, he's at a very low leverage, low power position. And it's going to cause muscle fatigue. Now, if he were to enter right about here, right about in this position with this slight Y, okay, his shoulder is going to be in a more natural position. They're not going to be quite at extreme twist or quite at extreme reach. So he's going to have a lot easier time grabbing water. He's not going to have to strain so hard to get it. And what he loses as far as his length of body he's going to gain back with much more efficiency with those shoulder muscles. And it's going to keep him more relaxed. And with butterfly, keeping those shoulder muscles from fatiguing is key. So really good. You can see his head's in the water here. That's a shout out to how good he's doing with that head position. But again, getting on the inside, just kind of overextending. If we can just keep it a little wider. And you can see on his non-breath strokes, he's pulling his head up similar to how he does on his breathing strokes. I like that in that it gets his body position really high. So I'm not going to fight that. I think he could probably keep the head in the water a little bit more. And the only reason I would say that is this would be a great stroke for like a 50 fly. But if he's doing like a 200 fly, trying to hold that body position and that head that high is going to eventually wear him down. So we want to just find, maybe modify that fly, get the head more in the water so that he's a little more relaxed. I think that'll make a huge difference for him as far as endurance with that butterfly. Because really, that's the key to an efficient butterfly. It's making a butterfly that holds together on that last 25 or that last 50 of the 200. And again, you can see the overreaching a little bit. And for the range of events he does, I really like the head position. I don't mind it coming up. I don't want to sound like he needs to change that. I'm just saying he needs to have another head position that he needs to add, where his face on the non-breathing strokes is just a little more submerged, a little deeper in the water, a little more neutral. And the reason we want to do that, again, is just for those longer distance flies. He's not going to see a lot of 200 flies till he's older. And once we get there, it's going to be real important that he adjusts his head position a little bit so that he can survive that. Because holding that head up high like he is right now for a whole 200 will be quite a task. But for the 50, for 100, I think he could do it. So let's go underwater, because I really like what I'm seeing above water. Really, the only thing that we're working on that I would nitpick at this stage is just getting his hands together a little too close. You can see it here, trying to bring his hands a little too close together. Other than that, I really like his sweep, and I'm really happy with the timing of his breath. So we're going to continue working that with drills so that it doesn't break down as he gets tired. But right now, he's got a really firm grasp of that. So let's go underwater and see what's going on.